Hola amigos, this is level 12 and today we are going to be asking ourselves, who is Paula Cracker from the Gorillaz and why does the fandom hate her? Now I got into the fandom about June, and when I get into a fandom, I have to look up everything about this fandom. Like, it's weird. Like, even when I subscribe to a new YouTuber, I binge watch their videos. That's just me. It's like something I have to do. And I was looking up Tootie, and when you look up Tootie, you don't get very far until you start to see the name Paula Cracker. And usually what you see about her is not in the best of light. Some people, and I've seen the two extremes of Paula Cracker. Some people hate her and want her head on a pike, and some people love her and identify with Paula. And they still kind of hate her, but it's not so far as the murder her now. So, in brief, Paula was the original guitarist before Noodle, and these are the only two official artworks including Paula. And it's so weird to see early Gorillaz art, and it's not even Gorillaz, it's just Gorilla, but whatever. You know, life happens. And as I said before, she was the original guitarist, but she had to leave because of issues in the band that she was causing, and these issues are, she was dating Tootie. I almost said Tudok, and that's a ship that I don't ship at all. She was dating Tootie, but an incident happened at Kong Studios with Murdoch, in which Russell walked in on them, and in one version I read, it was heavily implied that Paula was seduced into this action. In other versions it'll say it was an ongoing affair, which I'm just like, okay, whatever. It's like only those two versions, and then there's Paula's version, which we will get to in a minute. But after this incident, it's debated whether she was forced to leave the band or she left of her own accord to not cause any more strife in the band, because this greatly upset Tootie and Russell, who was really good friends with Tootie at the time, and Murdoch was, you know, his Murdoch way about it. He was super chalant and didn't really care. And so then they got Noodle, and Paula was more or less removed from the Gorillaz' history. And from just this simple evidence, one could not conclude to the extreme of putting her head on a pike, as some people would very much love to see. Now, no one's actually said that, but people have said other things about her which no one really likes. And when I first read this, I only saw that one side, and then I saw Tootie's side, which we will get to in a moment. And from seeing Tootie's side, it made me really go against Murdoch and think it was all his fault in what had happened. And that is not the way to go about it, because there's not just two sides to every story, there's multiple sides to every story, and it's best to get all the angles before you make a conclusion. And the angle that I had never gotten was Paula's, and it is mostly because they tried to wipe Paula from the history of Gorillaz, or at least Murdoch and everyone else has tried to do, except for Tootie, because oh, Tootie, his innocent little heart. He's gotten more innocence over the years, I feel. But, you know, that happens. So, we've seen Tootie's side, which is very much, he still pretty much loves Paula. We've seen just the focal site, the non-biased, and it's up in the air of how it happened. And then we have Murdoch, who's nonchalant about it, and just in his Murdoch way about it. But we haven't gotten Paula's side until recently, when I found a clip of Paula in the book Rise of the Ogre. And it's from the audio version of it, so like you can actually hear her. And because I was originally going to make a video defending Paula with only the information I had, because at that point I believed it was all Murdoch's fault for why Paula left and why Tootie is kind of in his suffering. Some people call him depressed. I don't really like thinking of him like that. I like thinking of him as just this kind of shy, awkward, anxietal guy like me. So I identify with him in that way, until I saw Paula's side. And it almost made me want to put her head on a pike, not gonna lie, because of how she left Tootie. And I know I'm already tainting the waters, which you shouldn't do, but you'll see in a moment what I mean and why I just could not defend Paula any longer. And now we get to hear Paula's version from the book Rise of the Ogres. Now this is the audio version, obviously, and we just get to hear Paula's version. Now I skipped the first 38 seconds because it's the premise of who Paula is, and I believe this is her first mention since the original work for Gorillas. Not 100%, but this is just her version of the events and Tootie and just everything in general.
Paula Cracker, Gorilla's first guitarist, tells her side of the story.
Well, I've been seeing Stewpot for about 2 months. I played a bit of guitar and used to buy strings from the shop he worked in. He was very sweet. A bit thick, though. He said that he was going to be a singer in this band, yeah? They didn't have a name yet. And I thought, yeah, I heard it all before. Still, I went down to Kong Studio to check him out, and I ended up playing with them. But when I saw Murdoch, with his thick, greasy hair, green teeth and yellow skin, I thought, oh, he's the one for me.
Paula...
That is why. That is, from my concluding, that is why the fandom dislikes Paula. Because she said she loved, they've been dating for 2 months. She said she liked Tootie, thought he was great, or, you know what I mean. She was dating Tootie at the time, and if it wasn't for Tootie, she obviously would not be in the Gorillas band, you know? And then she just sees Murdoch, and the way she describes him, in my opinion, is... I say this even though Murdoch is my favorite character. She describes him in such an unflattering way. It just... I don't know. This is what made me retract my video idea of defense of Paula, because if I had not seen this, I would not have the final side to the story of who Paula really is, and it's funny how things can change when you get this sudden new version of something, and it's quite interesting in a way, dare I say. And this is, again, why I feel the fandom kind of dislikes Paula, because she... First off, Tootie is just the innocent cinnamon bun the fandom has painted him, and no harm can come to him because he is Tootie, and he does bear the brunt of Murdoch's shenanigans, is the nicest way to put it. And while I don't believe in angelizing characters, I do kind of see where they're coming from. Like, if Tootie's your favorite character, which he is not mine, but he is my second, I can understand how you're going to be like, oh, how dare Paula do this to him, because I'm pretty sure he still had to put up with Murdoch's abuse, even in the beginning, but at least he had Russell then, but still doesn't excuse the behavior. It's just kind of sickening in a way how Paula could just do that, knowing that Murdoch had abused Tootie the way he had, because if the timeline in my head is adding up, Tootie had his eyes broken, well, when Murdoch hit him with the car. They were dating at that time, yes, and because it was only a little while later that Tootie regained consciousness and joined the band, as you know how that happened. And I'm just like, Paula, you knew this happened, how could you? Or if my timeline isn't adding up, then there would obviously be questions, and I just... But this is not the end of the video, so I'm gonna put my headphones back on, because I took them off, and then we're going to continue to watch the video. Forgive me for a moment. You might hear me putting my headphones on in the background.
Becomes increasingly more animated. Maybe she's on some sort of medication.
Oh, he's such a dandy, like Errol Flynn or something. But after that thing in the toilets, they kicked me out. But I never heard from Murdoch again, and my purse was gone. Since then, they've become this big, massive band. So I guess I was pleased for them. But it also kind of makes me feel really sick. In the head. Like I want to hurt people. They tried to write me out as the story of Gorillas, but they
did, basically. Like, my theory for, like, Paula, just in general, Hewlett, who is the artist for Gorillas, I feel like the original art was for Noodle, except he made her younger, obviously, and then people were wondering, well, who is this girl in the original work, or the original ensemble for Gorillas, which is just Gorilla, and then, like, this idea for Paula came in, which is my working theory for Paula, because, obviously, in Phase 1, 2D had purple hair, but as you can see, he has blue hair. In the official, the other only official art of Paula. That's just a theory as to why Paula even exists in the beginning.
I was the guitarist way before that Noodle. I've got half a mind to hunt them down.
That Murdoch?
He was on medication.
And now we get to see another glimpse at 2D on the idea about Paula.
2D seems hurt.
I can't believe you did that, Murdoch.
See, 2D puts the blame on just solely Murdoch, not Paula, which is an issue I see in a lot of couples, where the person in the relationship cheated, but they only blame the other person, which is just part of who 2D is. He's a rather forgiving guy.
Favour me. She was a rubbish-looking bird. Seriously, she looked like Grayson Perry or something. The best shot of her. You are.
It's just the principle.
Look, she was depressingly ugly. Easily enough to put you off your dinner. I mean, you should thank me. Anyhow, on with the show.
And as you can see, in the Plastic Beach interview, Paula gets brought up again. I don't remember how or why, but 2D just gets so upset at this, and I couldn't figure out why until I just thought of who 2D was, and then I'm like, okay, I understand why he's getting upset at this, and we'll get more into that in one little moment. So now we go into 2D's response. Whenever Paula is brought up, 2D always gets on the defensive side and is always ready to back or hurt anyone who says something bad about Paula, at least when Murdoch says something bad about Paula. And I couldn't, as I said, the longest time I couldn't figure out why, until I realized 2D is just, he loved Paula. Like, from the bottom of his heart, I really, truly feel he loved Paula as deep as he could. And then Paula goes and does this, and the love he felt for her was not nullified by the fact that she cheated on him. Or, yeah, cheated. Yeah. And I feel like I can officially call it cheating at this point, when she openly admitted to liking Murdoch and feeling the unfairness of Noodle taking her spot. And it kind of makes, and it has kind of quelled my anger for Paula, the way 2D expresses himself about Paula. Like, he gets so defensive, he got so upset that he attacked Murdoch to the point where Murdoch had to chloroform him, which is another theory as to why his eyes are like that, even though the first one was the truck thing hitting him in the face and the eyes, and, you know. But that's for another video. And I feel like, now just hear me out, I've always held this stance of, if someone has done a grievance against another person, but the person they have done the grievance against forgives them, why can't you? This was my argument for an English debate I had last year. The woman had forgiven her husband for cheating on her twice, might I add. And my defense was, why can't you forgive him if the one he had grievanced against forgave him? And I feel like that's a good stance to hold. Should Paula be getting all the hate that she does? I can't say, per se. Paula, what she did is, yes, unexcusable, but 2D does not feel that way, or he doesn't express it that way. He's very defensive with Paula. it's obvious he loved her a lot. And I feel like, as I said, if 2D can forgive her, you shouldn't necessarily forgive her the way he does, but if 2D can forgive her, why can't you cut her some slack? And I know that why the fandom acts like this is because they put 2D on such a pedestal, even though in Phase 1 he kind of was a punk. Like, in all the official art I can see from Phase 1, he, like, just, he's kind of gross in Phase 1, and he kind of gets more pitiful as the phases go on, and we've now seen in the new phase, the now, we now see that he is gaining his own footing again, and it's only because Murdoch is gone, and that goes to why doesn't the fandom dislike Murdoch, because I think the two most popular characters are obviously 2D and Murdoch, and why can't the fandom see past that? Well, it's the same reason why 2D doesn't dislike Paula, they just love him so much. And before Paula was introduced, there was so much lore and backing for Murdoch that even though Murdoch was also part of this affair, the blame goes on Paula because there's no backing or lore or story behind her. Again, it's kind of like why couples, when one cheats, you're more likely to hate the person they cheated with more than your significant other, because you love your significant other. The fandom loves Murdoch, so that's just my theory as to why the fandom just hates Paula. I really feel like it's because she cheated on the most, or if not the most, if not the most, the second most adorable character of the gorillas, because first place would go to Noodle, hands down, because she's great. But yeah. That is who Paula Cracker is, and some theories and suggestions as to why the fandom hates her, and why the 2D does not. This video was really weird, because I'm back in school now, and want to gouge out my eyes, is all I said Monday. Just gouging out my eyes. For those of you who have been expecting a Hetalia video, give me a moment, or give me a little while to get that together. I had no drive to make a Hetalia video today, because I knew if I tried to make one, I'd have to delete it, because it would not be good, because I just don't have the energy for a Hetalia video. But because I'm not as invested in the gorillas as I am Hetalia, well, I still love the gorillas, I feel like I could make it better without having to redo it, as I have had to redo a few Hetalia videos in the past, because I just was not up to make them. But anyways, I will be getting some of your suggestions from the Zodiac video. I got about 5 suggestions from that video, and I will be writing them down in my YouTube journal, and I take that almost, well, I have it near me 8 times out of 10 of my day, so, you know. And some of the ideas I had, I was like, oh, I'll remember them, and then I forgot them. Always write down your ideas, kids, because you will forget them. Like, just, I don't know why I thought I'd remember them. Whatever. Anyways, be looking forward to more Hetalia videos. If you like gorillas videos, I would not be against making more of them. Like, I'm just not against making more of them, because I like the gorillas, and I like the lore and the idea behind the gorillas and all of that jazz. Also, it's kind of hot topic because they're coming to America this fall. Anyways, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe for more anime and otaku related content. Ciao, chicos.